Here are some examples. Procter & Gamble, biggest consumer products company in the world. Wonderful brands, things like Gillette, Pampers in disposable nappies. I like companies that have brands that are in the top 2, 3 at the outside. Disposable nappies. I can name 2 brands, Pampers and Huggies. There presumably is a third brand, but I've never heard of it. And so there's an enormous power from owning that #1 brand. They sell $9 billion of Pampers nappies every year. Gillette, I can name 2 brands of razor, Gillette and Wilkinson. There are a couple of others out there, Schlick and so on, but those are the ones that really sell. As a result, this company's had 120 years of dividend payment and 54 years of dividend increases. Right? Nestle, largest food and beverage company in the world. Apart from that, it also sells 1/3 of its products direct to consumer. It bypasses the buying power of the Walmarts and the Tesco's. It sells direct to the consumer. If any of you drink Nespresso coffee, you're being sold direct to. You're probably buying those pods over the internet. It's selling direct to you without any intermediary. And that's the sort of business that we like. Becton Dickinson, you've probably never heard of it. Becton Dickinson is the largest supplier of consumables to the medical profession worldwide. Nothing high tech, syringes, sharps, catheters, testing kits, 37 years of continuous dividend increases. Kone, one of the top 3 elevator and escalator companies in the world. That installed base of equipment gives it a 45% cash return on capital. Colgate-Palmolive, biggest oral care company in the world, toothpaste and toothbrushes. 2/3 of the world doesn't yet use toothpaste to brush its teeth, but they will in due course. The other thing I like about it is hidden value in companies. On that page are 3 of the 4 top pet food companies in the world. Pet food is a wonderful product. It's a small ticket consumer non-durable. When you fed the dog or the cat, you have to go buy some more. The research shows quite clearly that in the developed world, people will feed their pets if necessary at the expense of feeding their children. A pet is a full family member now in the developed world. So pet food is a wonderful product. Brown-Forman. We like companies that have been around a long time and resilient. The average company in our portfolio was founded in 1887. They have all survived 2 world wars and the Great Depression. Things like we've experienced in the last few years are minor events to these companies. Brown-Forman I particularly like. You may or may not be familiar with Brown-Forman, but some of you will be familiar with its main product, which is Jack Daniels, which is a bourbon. What I like about Brown-Forman is it not only survived 2 world wars and the Great Depression, it survived prohibition. It survived having its product declared illegal. That's resilience. For those of you who wonder how they did that, it wasn't bootlegging. They got a license from the US government to supply whiskey for medicinal purposes. That's what I call innovation. Okay. Last point on this, we're the Groucho Marx of investment. We don't invest. Groucho Marx famously would never join any club that have him as a member. We would never invest in any company that needs our money. We don't like companies that are quoted because they need to keep raising capital. Call us old-fashioned, but our view of an investment is something that gives us cash through the dividend, not we keep giving them cash. These companies that we own are not quoted because they need access to capital. Their cash flow is so wonderful, they don't need any more money. They are only quoted because they were once family-owned, and as we know, families, as they become more dispersed and ownership is dispersed, eventually have to have a realization event. People don't want to work in the family business anymore, people lose money, they have to realize. So companies become public in these sectors because of those events. As a result, we're interested in sectors where there's at least one major company that's not quoted, because it tells us that companies in that sector can survive without ever coming to the stock market. So confectionery, we like confectionery. It's a small ticket consumer non-durable. It's an everyday luxury item for people. Mars is one of the world's biggest confectionery companies, and it's private. So we like that. We like pet food. I mentioned that we have 3 of the top 4 pet food companies in the world on that page. They are Procter & Gamble, which owns Iams, Nestle, which owns Ralston Purina, and Colgate-Palmolive, which owns Hills. What's the 4th one? Again, it's Mars. Mars owns Pedigree and Whiskers. It's the top pet food company in the world. We know that pet food is a business that you can survive in without our cash because they're doing it. We know how strong these businesses are that they don't need to come to the stock market. Mars purchased Wrigley, another company that we like, a confectionery company, for $27 billion in cash without ever coming to the stock market. They don't need our money. And until the Mars family one day does something wrong and has to sell its shareholding, we won't get an opportunity to invest. But it does tell us that confectionery and pet food are really good sectors. We like the hard drink sector, so we like the people who make spirits. Bacardi is one of the top 5 spirits brands in the world. It's private, doesn't need our money. You've probably never heard of Doctors Associates. But the existence of Doctors Associates tells us why we like the fast food franchise business. One reason we like is because the franchisors, the big companies that we own, the McDonald's, the Yum Brands and the Domino's of this world, don't put up any of the capital. The franchisees put up the capital. We just get a royalty. But the other reason we like it is there's a company out there that's private. The largest fast food franchise in the world by number of outlets is Subway. That's owned by a company called Doctors Associates. Okay? And we like SC Johnson. We like the household cleaning product sector. We like the people who make your everyday cleaning products. So if you buy your finished dishwasher tablets and so on, those are companies that we invest in with Reckitt Benckiser. SC Johnson tells us that's a good sector. It's been 5 generations in family ownerships. You've probably never heard of it, but you've probably heard of Glade air fresheners, or you might have heard of Ziploc bags, or you might have heard of Raid insect repellent. Those are SC Johnson brands. So those are the sort of companies that we like. Long-standing, resilient companies that don't need our cash.